So we're here on the Isle of Islay, just off the west coast of Scotland, and we're here for the Islay Festival 2022. Just beside me here, we've got a bottle of Port Charlotte 20-year-old, as bottled by Dramfool, specifically for the festival. It's one of a few bottles they're doing. This one in particular has got quite a nice story. It was matured in bourbon and Oloroso casks, so 16 years in bourbon hogsheads, and then 4 years in Oloroso sherry. Distilled 2002, bottled 2020. It's exactly 20 years and a day old. This is among some of the oldest whiskies put out by Bruichladdich Distillery under the Port Charlotte name since they started distilling again in 2001. So I'm particularly excited to try this one. You know, most people will be familiar with the core range, which is generally younger, about 10 years old. So thoroughly looking forward to trying this one. There are 170 bottles that have been produced for this. So I won't be opening this one today. I don't want to be breaking anyone's hearts, but thankfully we've been sent a wee sample, so we'll be able to see what it tastes like. So immediately from the colour, you can see that 4 years in sherry casks has really paid off. You've got a really nice coppery hint to it. Maybe not quite as intense if it's spent longer, but 4 years has definitely had an impact. Let's see if that's detectable elsewhere. Yeah, so this one's bottled at cask strength. It is 58.4%. That's immediately obvious on the nose. There is quite a bit of alcohol prickle there. But with a bit of perseverance, there is actually a really nice sweetness that comes through. It is sort of compatible to other sort of sherry matured whiskies that you might think of. You do get that nice sort of Christmas cake element. You're sort of thinking nice fruit cake, a little bit of marzipan, icing sugar. But there is that nice earthy peatiness that comes through. Port Charlotte's usually peated to around 40 peat parts per million, which is quite strong as far as sort of peat levels go. But it's definitely not dominating here. There's a really nice balance. What I love about whiskey is when it's quite oily, when it does sort of coat the mouth, and you definitely get that with this. You know, as I said, it's almost sticky. There's a toffee sweetness, a little bit of sort of, again, icing sugar coming through, a little bit of marzipan. The peat smoke's not as obvious as it is on the nose, but as I said, it wasn't dominating the nose anyway. Tell you what, it's very, very moreish. The smoke comes back a little bit on the finish. There's a little bit of a salinity there, which is quite nice. But the sweetness doesn't ever go away. When you sort of let it linger, there is almost like a slight jammy note. I'm thinking like kind of blackcurrant jam, maybe. So I was going to have to take this off of me. It's delightful. It's stronger on the nose and the finish. The alcohol prickle does come back a little bit, but on the palate, it was amazingly smooth. I'll try it with a little bit of water just to see what it's like. So let's see how this turns out with a little bit of water added. Immediately, if I could fault this whiskey before adding water, was the alcohol prickle was maybe a little sharp. That's completely gone once you add even just a little bit of water. I've not drowned my whiskey here, and it's made a massive difference. Yeah, that sort of jammy note that I picked up on the finish before adding water comes through a lot on the nose now. It's more of like a nice soft strawberry jam. It's very appealing to me. The smoke's still there, but it's still just a bit of an undercurrent. It's not too, it's definitely not overpowering. Yeah, again, the balance is still there even with water. A nice sort of oaky smokiness to it. It's not too peaty, but you're still getting lovely sort of sherry influenced flavors. Maybe not quite raisins, but maybe sort of like, you know, rum soaked raisins. It's actually quite nice. Yeah, nice and fruity, but you're definitely thinking sort of dried fruits. As I said, rum soaked raisins, maybe even something like prunes. Yeah, I'm sort of delighted to say that, you know, sometimes with an Oloroso cask, you can get a little bit of like a sulphury note coming through, which can be a little bit off-putting. I'm delighted to confirm you're getting absolutely none of that with this at all. So it's an excellent cask selection, I'd say. And with finish, again, there's just that slight lingering smokiness coming back. The sweetness is definitely dissipated a little bit now that I've added water, and the smokiness still comes through. As I said, it's a superbly well-balanced dram. Doesn't show its age too much. You know, sometimes over-aging can lend to just too much of a wood influence, but this is just really, really well-balanced. It's lovely stuff. And I hope those who are lucky enough to pick up one of the 170 bottles definitely open it up, because it's definitely worth it. So, cheers.